is Harika. I am going to teach you Python in 3 levels. Say level 1, level 2 and level 3. Now we are going to start level 1. What you are going to learn in level 1? Introduction to Python, getting started with Python, variables, various ways of printing the results, general data types, typecasting, Boolean functions, operators, literals, types of strings, accepting inputs, control statements like sequence control, decision control, loop control, and then break keyword, continue keyword, parse keyword, indexing, slicing, special data types in Python like lists, sets, tuples, dictionaries, lists. Again, clear description regarding sets, tuples and even dictionaries, functions. So these are the topics which we are going to see in this level 1. Okay, so we will be starting with the first topic, that is nothing but introduction to Python. Before discussing what is Python, we will be seeing what is a program basically.
This conference will now be recorded.
We heard the term program for many number of times, but what exactly program is? Sequence of instructions that are needed to be executed in order to get the results. Let us say I am giving some instructions to the computer. I am giving some instructions to the computer. What the computer will do? It will resolve these instructions step by step and it will be giving the output, result, answer, or anything we can call. So what is a program basically? Sequence of commands or sequence of instructions given to a computer to get some result is called as a program. Let us say I am giving some instructions to you, like give you a pen, give you a book, like that. Why I will give instructions to you? Because I want something to be done by you. In the same way, I want something to be done by the computer. That's why I will be giving some instructions to the computer. What the computer will do? It will resolve my instructions step by step and it will be producing the results, or it will be doing whatever I do exactly want. So finally what I am telling you, program means sequence of commands given to a computer to get some result. Fine. So what is the basic purpose of writing a program? Let us say I want to add a 10 lakh number with another 10 lakh number. Without writing the program, if I want to do this manually means how you will do? Generally, like you will be putting the numbers one down to the other and you will be performing the task. If you do the task manually like this, there will be two problems. The first problem is I might be putting 4 plus 2 as 8 because I am a human being. Definitely I do mistakes. But if the same task is done by a computer program, it will never produce the erroneous results. It will never produce the erroneous results. So the first purpose of writing the program is to get the results in an accurate manner. Next. So if I want to do this task manually, like addition of 10 lakh number with another 10 lakh number, I might be taking some half an hour of time to get the result. Some other person is taking 1 hour of time to get the result. Some other person is taking 2 hours of time to get the result. But if the same task is done by a computer program, it will be taking just seconds or nanoseconds. You know, if what I am telling you is, if I do the task manually, I might be taking 1 hour of time, half an hour of time, any amount of time or lot of amount of time. But if the same task is done by a computer program, it will be producing the results in seconds or nanoseconds. See, for us 1 second is negligible, but for computer 1 second is so high. Actually, it will be having 1000 nanoseconds in 1 second. So the second purpose of writing the program is to get the results in a faster manner. What is a program? Sequence of commands given to a computer to get some result is called as a program. The purpose of writing the program is to get the results in a faster manner and also to get the results in an accurate manner. Yes. Then, in order to fulfill our task, we are writing the code. Yes. Why we are writing the code? In order to accomplish our task. That's okay. But we will be writing the code in two ways. First is by using programming languages, you can write the code, and even by using the scripting languages, you can write the code. What is the basic difference between programming language and scripting language? We will be seeing now. In programming languages, even though the requirement is small, even though the task to be done is very small, it requires lot of number of instructions. Okay, the task to be done is very small, but still to accomplish the task, we require many instructions. So as the number of instructions are less, more memory is required. So we can say that cost of maintenance is high, we can say, and even we can call programming languages like heavyweight. But in case of scripting languages, what will happen? In case of scripting languages, even though the task is small, the task to be done is large anyhow, within less number of instructions, we can fulfill that task. So as the code is less, as the number of instructions are less, maintenance cost will also be very less. So we can call scripting languages as what? Lightweight languages. In programming languages, what will happen? The task is small, but the number of instructions to fulfill the task is very high. Actually, task is small, task is large, that's of no matter. Many number of instructions are required for fulfilling that particular task. So cost of maintenance is high, and even it is heavyweight. Scripting languages, the task is large or the task is small, that doesn't matter. We can easily do that with fewer number of instructions. So maintenance cost will be less and it is lightweight. Okay, now we will see what is Python. Python is the fastest scripting language. See, whenever I call it as scripting language, number of instructions are very less, cost of maintenance is very less, it is a lightweight language. We can simply say, who has created Python? Guido van Rossum in the year 1989 created this Python, and this language is released in the year 1991. It was actually created in 1989. After many modifications and refinements, it got released in 1991. Why Guido van Rossum kept the name of his language as Python? What is the reason? Actually, when Guido van Rossum began implementing Python or started creation of Python, he used to read the published scripts from Monty Python's Flying Circus. What is Monty Python's Flying Circus? A BBC comedy series from 1970s actually. Van Rossum thought that he needed a name that has to be short, unique and slightly mysterious. So he has decided to put the name of the language as Python. Simply. It came from the series called as Monty Python's Flying Circus. Actually, the code written in this Python language will be executed very, very fastly. See, let us say I have written some piece of code in Java, and it is taking some 5 nanoseconds to produce the result. The same piece of code I have written in .NET. It is taking some 3 nanoseconds to produce the output. We will say the same piece of code. That means like same logic. I mean, one logic I have taken, that logic I have written in Java, same logic I have written in .NET, same logic I have written in Python. The logic written in Java is taking 5 nanoseconds to produce the output. In .NET, it is taking 3 nanoseconds to produce the output. Same logic written in Python is taking only 1 nanosecond to produce the output. You know, the code written in this particular Python language will produce the results in a very, very faster manner. Why? What happened to Java? Why Java is so slow while compared to Python? So simple. Let us say we want to print 19 onto the monitor. In Java, if I want to print 19 onto the monitor, let us count how many instructions we require. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 instructions are required to just print 19 onto the monitor in Java. But if I want to print 19 onto the monitor using Python, see how many instructions are required? Only one instruction. Just one instruction. That's it. See, in Python, as the number of instructions are less, the code will be executed very, very fastly. Right? Here, for small thing, 9 instructions are there. For the same thing in Python, what is the thing? Like only one instruction is available. Within one instruction, you can do that. So what I am telling you is, as the code is very short, as the number of instructions are very less, it will produce the results in a very, very faster manner. We will be discussing few features regarding this Python. We have already discussed Python is a scripting language and it is an open source. Open source means what? Anybody can download the Python software for free of cost. No need to pay 1 rupee also or $1 also for having this Python. It's not a licensed software. Anybody can use it for free of cost. Anyhow, in my next video, I will tell you how to download this Python, how to install it very, very clearly. Next, third feature is Python is a language with a huge following of volunteers that are constantly trying to improve it. What I exactly mean by that point. Let us say I am a Java developer, okay? From the last 20 years, I am working in Java. I am having very good command in Java. So, I thought that if X future is there in Java, it will be so good. I thought like that. But that X future is not there in Java. But I am very good in Java. I have a lot of experience and knowledge in Java, right? So, I am writing the code for that X future. I am writing the code for that X future and I am contributing that code to the Java community. I am contributing that code to the Java community. From now onwards, in Java, that X feature has been added. Similarly, I thought that if Y feature is there in Java, it will be so good. But that feature is not there in Java. So, what I've done is like, as I'm very good in Java, I have written code for that particular feature and I have contributed this particular code to the Java community. From now onwards, in Java, even Y feature came. Like that, many people are contributing the code to the Python community. Because of which, what will happen? See, if a code is contributed, one new feature is added, right? So in the same way, lot of people are adding or contributing the code to the Python community, because of which the power of this language is growing more and more day to day. This is what exactly I mentioned here. It is a language with huge following of volunteers that are constantly trying to improve it. How the people are trying to improve it? By contributing the code to the Python community. Next, Python is an object-oriented programming language. Everything in Python is treated as an object. In our next videos, in the OOPS concept, I will very, very clearly tell you what is object, what is class, what is method, everything. As of now, just remember, like Python is an object-oriented programming language. It is portable. Python is portable. What is portable? Exactly what I mean by this. Let us say I am having two computers. computer 1 and computer 2. In the first computer, I'm having Windows operating system, and in the second computer, I'm having actually Mac operating system. In the first computer, I have written the piece of code and I have saved that particular file with the extension py. See, if it is a Java program, I will save the file with the extension Java. If it is C++, .cpp. If it is C#, .cs. As this is a Python code, I am saving this file with the extension py. Actually, I have written this Python code in the first computer, which is having Windows operating system. But you know, I can see the output of this particular piece of code in some other computer with a different operating system. Here the source code is not there. Here Python code is not there. But I can see the output of that particular Python code which is available in first computer. So I am writing the code in one computer with one OS, and I am seeing the result of this particular piece of code in some other computer with a different OS. So this is called as what? Portability. You know how we can achieve this? If I compile this piece of code, I will be getting hello.pyc. I will be getting pyc file. I can take pyc file to any computer and I can see the results. This will be covered actually in the next video. So Python is portable. That means you can write the code in one computer with one OS and you can see the result of that file in some other computer with different OS. It is flexible. It is so flexible. It's not like I'm having Windows operating system in my computer, only I can use Python. It is not like that. If you have Mac OS, if you have Unix OS, or if you have any OS, no problem. You can easily install Python and you can use. That means what I mean to say is like Python is compatible with any OS, no problem. It is having a very rich set of libraries or modules. Being the first class, we will be understanding like modules are nothing but predefined things. Using these predefined things, you can fulfill your requirements. Let us say, simple example, I will be calling A, B, C, D up to so on Z as what? Modules. So using these A, B, C, D, I can construct the sentences, I can construct the words like that. In the same way, Python is having 166,000 plus modules, because of which you can use Python in different fields or in different areas, in different contexts. Let us say there is a module called as test complete in Python. If you know test complete, or if you can use the test complete module, you can create automation test scripts. You can create test scripts in Python. And then there is a module called as what? OpenPy, OpenPyXL. If you can use this OpenPyXL module, you can work with the Python files, Excel files with Python. You can just write a Python script to open the Excel files, to put some information in the Excel files, to close the Excel files, to read the data from the Excel files. You can perform operations. Similarly, there is a module called as what? Django. If you know Django module, you can create the websites or web applications using this Python in a very faster and easier manner actually. This is the most advanced framework for web development in Python. Like that, 166,000 plus modules are there. If you know one module, you can use this Python in one particular context or in one particular field. It is so simple and easy to learn. Definitely it is so simple. I already have shown you. If you want to print 19 onto the monitor using Java, you are having 9 instructions, but in Python there is only one line. Anyhow, I am going to explain this line in the next classes, but just see. It is so simple and easy to learn because it is having straightforward syntaxes and straightforward commands. No need to follow some structure or like that. So it is so simple and easy to learn. To learn Java, at least some knowledge of C or C++ is required, but to learn Python, zero knowledge is required. That's it. Like even the person with zero knowledge can learn Python very easily. A person from non-IT background or anybody, non-IT job or anybody can learn Python very easily. No prerequisites for this language. Applications. Where this Python is actually used. See, really, if I start talking about the applications of Python, really the time won't be sufficient. Like today whole day I will be requiring for telling that. So what I mean to say is like Python is actually used in many areas, many fields, and in many contexts. So we will be discussing few. Python is used for creating desktop applications. What is a desktop application? In which desktop the code is available? In the same desktop, if you are able to see the result, then that is called as what? Desktop application. See, in this computer, if code is there, in this computer only, if I can see the result, that is called as what? Desktop application. Using Python, you can create the desktop applications. What is a web application? Right? Web application in the sense like what? You will write the piece of code in your computer and you will, what is the output of this code? One web page is the output of this particular code. So simple. I am writing the code in my computer and I am generating the outputs. What is output? Web page is nothing but the output of this code. I can generate web pages in any of the computers. So simple. What I exactly mean is like web development you can do with Python means you can create the web applications or websites using Python in a simple manner actually. So there are many things for web development in Python like Tornado, Pyramid, Flask, Bottle. Even I've mentioned already, Django is the most advanced framework for developing web applications in Python. Nextly, what you can do, you can develop games using Python with less number of instructions and in very shorter time. Automation testing. You can write the test scripts in Python. Briefly, I just want to tell you what is testing. Let us say, you and me are working in the same company. You are the person from development team and I am the person from testing team. See, you have created a login form like this. Username, text field. Password, text field. And then the submit button. So being the developer, what you have done is you have created one login form. Okay. See, let us say I have manufactured a mobile. As soon as I manufacture mobile, I will not directly sell this mobile to the customer. What I will do, I will test it, whether touch is working or not, whether sound is getting increased, volume is getting increased and decreased or not. I will be checking, right? In the same way, once being the developer, once you have developed this page, this is not directly given to the client actually. I am from the testing team and I will be taking your application and I will be testing it, whether it is properly working or not. So as a basic example, I will tell you, let us say I have written some small piece of code and if I execute this code, you know what will happen? Into this particular username text field, if I execute this code, what will happen? Into this username text field, Harika is going. If the text field is editable, you will say that test case pass. If the text field is not editable, see, if I enter some values, the text field should take it, right? If the text field is not editable, then you will say the test case field. Okay. In the same way, as soon as you execute the code is sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the password text field. If the password text field is editable, you can say that test case pass. Otherwise, test case fail. Similarly, if you run the program, what it is doing, it is actually clicking on the submit button. If you click on the submit button, either the home page of the website have to be shown to the user or an alert has to be shown to the user like invalid login credentials. If both is not shown, like how many times if I click the submit button, that many times it is showing me the same page. That means the functionality of the button is not proper. The button is not working. Then I will report the developer that there is some problem with the submit. You have to check it. Otherwise, I will say like if everything is okay, I will say the test case pass. So in that way, automatically, if you execute a program, if you execute a test script, it will automatically check. It will automatically test your page. It will automatically test your page. That's why this is called as what? Automation test script. Automation test script. You are not entering. See, manual testing in the sense what? Using your eyes, you are seeing this text field, and using your hands, you are entering Harika. Similarly, using your eyes, you are seeing the password text field, and using your eyes, you are entering 1 2 3 4 5 6. Using your eyes, you are seeing the submit button, and using your hands, you are clicking on the submit button. See, manually I am doing this. If that is the case, it is called as manual testing. Automation testing means what? You are writing a reusable test script. If this is executed automatically, the testing will be performed on this particular application. So what I want to say is, like, this automation test script can be written in Python. This automation test scripts can be written in Python. This is also one of the important applications. Similarly, we can use Python scripts in networking activities. Let us say I will be connecting some cluster of computers. I will transfer the files from this computer to that computer to some other computer, like that. And it is used in the Hadoop and big data fields also. So if you want to write Python scripts in the Hadoop areas or in the Hadoop context, you will be using a tool called as what? PyDoop, Python plus Hadoop. You can write the Puppet scripts in Python. Let me show you, let me tell you a small example. What is a Puppet script? See, let us say I got a mail from my company that, before that I just want to tell you one thing. Let us say I am the administrator in my company, okay? Actually maintaining some 100 systems. I'm maintaining 100 systems, and I have received a mail from my company that there is a software X, and that software has to be installed in all the 100 computers by me. That is a mail I have received. See, if I start going to each and every computer and start installation, it will take lot of amount of time for me. That's why what I will do is, in my admin computer, I will be installing that software, and then I will be collecting the IP addresses of those systems into which I have to install that software. And then, you know what I will do? I will write some Python script over here. If I execute this particular Python script, you know what will happen? Into all the 100 computers, that X software will be installed. So this is called as what? Puppet script. Puppet script. What is a Puppet script basically? It is a script that will show effect on multiple computers. I have just told you what is Puppet script very basically. It is the script that will show effect on multiple computers. I can write the Puppet scripts in Python. I can write the Puppet scripts in Python. Fine. And then, see, let us say I am a Java developer and I am writing the Java code like this. I am almost done with my code, but there is only one logic left. Okay, I analyzed how many instructions are required to complete that logic in Java. I came to know that 500 instructions are required to complete that logic in Java. Now, I also know Python. Client doesn't put any restriction to me. You have to complete the code. You have to write the code only in Java, only in Python. He doesn't say like that. So I have analyzed that in Python, it will take only 50 instructions to write that logic. You know what I have done? I have integrated the Python code in the Java program, and I have executed this like a normal Java program. So, you know, into my Java project, I have embedded a tool called as what? Jython. Jython. What is Jython basically? Java plus Python. If I integrate Jython tool into my Java project, what will happen? I can embed the Python script into the Java program, and I can run like a regular Java program. Okay. In the same way, I am creating a .NET project. Okay. I am writing some .NET code. So same thing. I want to integrate Python script. I want to integrate Python script in my .NET program. Yes, I can do that. You can integrate the Python script in your .NET program by using a tool called as what? IronPython. IronPython. If you can integrate the IronPython into your .NET application, you know what will happen? You can embed the Python code in the .NET program, and you can run this like a regular .NET program. Okay, in this way you can integrate the Python scripts in the other languages codes or other pieces of codes. Okay, this is also the most advantageous thing. So you will be using Python in web scraping. What is the basic idea of web scraping? That is nothing but to collect required data from the internet. For that also you can write Python scripts. You will be writing the Python scripts for performing the activities related to data science in the artificial intelligence fields. In the robotics area also you can write the Python scripts. Let us say I want to write a script which can lift the which can lift the hand of a robot. Okay, so for that also I can just write the Python script. So like that, anywhere in many contexts like this particular Python is used to. See, generally Java will be learned by Java developers or .NET will be learned by maximum like .NET developers. But Python is not like that. Everybody will be using Python in their work in some context. It's not like only Python developers will learn Python. Everybody will write the Python script on one day in their jobs definitely, or in their work definitely, because this is not only for Python. Like Python is not only meant for Python applications. Everywhere in any situation or in any context, we can just write the Python script to fulfill the requirement. So that's why it is having lot and more demand in the market. The point is you have to understand is it is so easy to learn. It is so easy to learn. The script you are going to write is very less actually. As the script is less, the execution speed will be very high. So, and this is actually having 1,66,000 plus modules. So if you can use one module, what will happen? Like you can just apply this particular Python in one particular context or in one particular area like that. So that's why Python is having lot of demand in the market. I already told you, not only the Python developers, anybody or everybody can use this Python in their particular works or to just fulfill their requirements.
This conference will now be recorded.
So Python is also having few disadvantages. First is what? Python has a smaller pool of experienced developers compared to other languages like Java. See, Java is a very older technology. So Java supporters or Java community is very strong. There are many people are available for providing support. I'm not telling that Python community will not provide support. If we got stuck in any project, I'm not telling that Python community will not respond. It is also very good. But while compared to Java community, Python community is having some less number, like what we can say, small number of experienced people. This is the first disadvantage. What is that? Python has smaller pool of experienced developers compared to Java. Next is what? It is not at all a good choice for using Python in developing mobile applications. See, if you use Python for creating the mobile applications, they are damn slow actually. The mobile applications created in Python are very slow. That's why it is not at all preferable to choose Python as a language for creating mobile applications, as it is very weak in mobile computing. See, I told that it is faster than Java, it is faster than .NET, but you know, Python is actually slower than platform dependent languages like C or C++. I will be telling you in the next video what are platform dependent languages, what is platform independency, we will be discussing. But the point here to remember is it is faster than platform independent languages, but it is slower than the platform dependent languages. Next, generally after compilation, I will be getting like if there is any error, I will be seeing them. But you know, in Python, after execution of the program also, errors will be shown. I will be telling you what is compilation execution anyhow in the next video. This is also one of the problems. What is that? So after execution also, it is showing some errors. Next is what? It is almost impossible to develop high-end 3D game using Python. We can develop small 3D games in Python, that is okay, but a game with full-fledged features or highly sophisticated games in 3D cannot be developed using this Python. See, any language will be having disadvantages. Like that, Python is also having some disadvantages, but while compared to disadvantages, advantages are very, very high in Python. So it is having its own importance and demand in the market. So this is some introduction to Python. Thank you so much.